I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Oh, Diane.
Racing together, doing this email with a bunch of...
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Thank you. What? Well, thank you all for coming out on this cold and windy night. That is the wind we're hearing. It's not one of us. Would you all please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance? And Dennis, will you lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You smart ass.
Oh, do you need a...
The only one that got it.
We're dedicating the meeting tonight to our indomitable highway crew. Because when we're sleeping and safe in our beds and the weather is miserable, they're out there plowing and sanding and salting and doing whatever it is that they do. But they've worked really hard during the storms, and I just don't ever want to take them for granted. Plus,
They also came out for our structure fire last Tuesday and sanded and salted the driveway, which was very treacherous, to enable the fire trucks to get up and down.
they're the best.
They did a great job, yep.
They're the best. Okay, Rita, will you please do the roll call?
Wendy Burton.
Here.
Julia Dakota. Here. Eric Hames.
Present.
Nathan Laverge. Here we go.
Here.
Teddy Secor.
Here.
Let the games begin. I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one addition. Down at the very bottom where it says other, I have a motion to approve an expenditure for the Burdick Park Committee. So just to add that.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Liaison Reports. Teddy, do you have 17 of them tonight?
I think 16. So first off, Haunted Fortress, besides hashing out our repair list, which is usually and always extensive, we were talking about a municipal improvement grant. This year, the grant is really being aimed towards senior citizen projects, so we don't really qualify, it seems, this year for anything in that category. So we'll get our list together and submit for next year, but this year we really don't have that grant available to us. Climate Smart Communities Task Force, we are actually putting our foot to the pedal and collecting and organizing data. So hopefully by the end of this year, we will have submitted our data to the Partners for Climate Action Hudson Valley or the New York State level association of that. And maybe we will get certified. We're looking probably better than bronze certification, but we also had discussions about what really is our mission, you know, in collecting, because we've given input before and we talked about clarifying sort of what our purpose is as an organization. So we really did talk about that a lot. And finally, the ZB.
Teddy, would you explain to everyone what happens once you get certification, even at the bronze level?
So, when you get certified, even at bronze level, it doesn't necessarily mean anything too special. You can still apply for grants that anybody else could. But when a grantee looks at your certification level, that you're silver or bronze, that tells them that you're greatly committed to improving the environment of your town and you're pretty serious about going forward with any sort of green project. So if we wanted charging stations, which are very expensive for a town like us, you could go to a grant giving organization and they would say, wow, you're actually kind of serious about this, let's give it to you. Like you could, but if you don't have any certification, it's not that you're not serious, it's just that you don't really show that you have a strong initiative for projects like that.
So it's like cream rising to the top.
Pretty much.
Okie dokie, thank you.
Minus the skimming. And the ZBA. Last night, the Rathjen public hearing, the ZBA for the Charwell Drive Rathjen issue, whatever you want to call it, the ZBA decided to push off that public hearing for another month, so the public hearing is open until March 12th. That is hopefully the end of that. Additionally, on March 12th, there will be two public hearings. One is for a front yard variance at 1709 Bull's Head Road, and one is at Bloodstock Farm for a front yard area variance. There were supposed to be two other public hearings next month, but one at 902 Dual Road. More information is needed about what the variance is asking for and placement of the building in question. And another one for Bloodstock Farm, clarification by the building inspector is needed for why it was defined in certain ways. You know, I could go into more of that, but that's too much. But that's my report.
The Rathjen Charwell Drive issue, the reason it keeps getting postponed is because outside of the ZBA making a thumbs up or down decision on whether or not the nursery business also includes construction,
Yes.
Hardscaping.
well, the contractor's yard stuff, hardscaping. The attorneys involved are trying to come to a settlement, so it's not a yes or no answer, which I think will be beneficial to everyone. They're trying to work it out so that the neighborhood is happy, and Ben moves most of his business to the new property that he bought on the other side and behind the fire company, and that will ultimately be a much better ending to the whole saga. So that's why it keeps getting pushed off.
Yes, so it is open until next month, and there's two other public meetings, and hopefully that'll be the end of that.
Yeah. Okey dokey. Eric?
Yes, good evening. I attended the Town of Stanford Planning Board meeting. That was on January 22nd. It was a busy meeting. There were three business items. The first was a modification to a minor subdivision for Joe Monaco. The property's on Shelley Hill Road. It involves amending a previously approved subdivision from 2007 for expansion of the building envelope to build a single-family home and a garage. There was a motion to classify the application, which passed, so there will be a public hearing on February 26th, and I think it's being referred back to the CAC for additional comments and possibly a site visit. The second item was a minor subdivision, Sisters of Charity and St. Vincent de Paul. Sean Morgan was the engineer. He did the presentation. The property is on Sister Hill Road in Stanfordville. It's a subdivision of 66.82 acres, a single lot into 3 lots. This is going to be referred to the planning board's engineer. No public hearing yet. The third item is a minor subdivision. Karen Rokeby and Brandon Johnson. It's on Knight Road in Stanfordville. It's a proposed 5-acre subdivision from a property that's currently owned by Gail Bontegue. There was a motion to classify the application, which passed. So there will be a public hearing on February 26th for this application. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Do you have anything?
Oh, yeah. It was a long meeting. The recreation meeting met last night, and there were several things discussed. I'll go through as many as I can. Excuse me. The first thing that happened was there was a presentation from Jack Chapin, who is a sophomore at Spattengill High School. He is currently working on a proposal for his Eagle Scout. And so it was a wonderful presentation, and he has this is first of 3 phases that he has to go through. So it was really just a preliminary thumbs up from the Recreation Commission, that he's got to do more with the scouting community. But effectively what he wants to do is he wants to install a bench at the rec and also plant 2 or 3 trees that won't grow beyond a certain height, because we know that that's an issue. He will do all of the fundraising, and then all of the work will be volunteer from the scouts themselves. And they also have, through the Scouting Association, they're also insured, so we don't need to worry about that. They're working with local vendors for material, the trees, and there will be a plaque on it that is in memory of his grandfather that his grandmother is going to be donating for. So that will happen around June-ish.
Do they know where they want to put the bench?
So that was part of the discussion. There was an idea of where to put it, but I think they're going to discuss a little bit. They also wanted to, last night they approved, like, yes, you can go ahead and do this, with the knowledge that we will discuss where it will go, because they want to work with the recreation campaign as well to figure out what's happening there to not interfere. So everyone was really excited about it.
That's lovely.
Yep. I think I've mentioned this before in the past, that there's been a lot of discussion around what to do with the pavilion rental, because it's jam-packed all season long. So Charlotte and Jenny spent a lot of time doing a lot of area discovery and research on what they're doing as far as their pavilions. That's not me whistling while I talk, I promise. And
Rare talent.
so there is going to be a revised form that will be presented to Jane for a review. But the big change that's going to happen is that there's going to be an increase in the fees. So the resident in-season essentially just means the waterfront is open. So when the waterfront is open, it will be $200, excuse me, for residents. And in the off-season, when waterfront's closed, it's $150. And the time period is, I think they're still looking at between a 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 9 or 10 a.m. They're looking at a morning start. Excuse me. For non-residents, the in-season will be $300 and $250 for the off-season. So they're firm on the prices. They're just finalizing the form, and they're going to start getting that out into the public so that they can
Rita, do we have to approve that though, right?
Yes.
approve the form or the fees.
Not the form, the fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll have to, somebody will just have to present it to us, and, I mean, you can, we just have to approve it.
Well, do you want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Is another agenda item?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Another issue that has come up is one of the baseball softball fields. So the Taconic Little League has offered to assist with the upgrade and maintenance of it for this season. The only thing that they're asking the rec to do is purchase the additional clay. So,
I thought we did that last year.
well, the rec will always buy the clay,
Okay.
but what we're doing is we're buying it for a different field.
Okay.
So, they discussed this last night, and Lauren is confident that she can maneuver her budget to accommodate this. So they're gonna come in and they're just gonna put the clay down, but they're gonna tear up all the grass that's grown in and all that kind of stuff. So they're gonna come in and do that.
Great.
So it's a nice, fair exchange. There was a conversation around the community garden. There was some questions about what to do with a pollinator section. I think there will be more discussion on it. I don't know if it was really set in stone, but there was a lot of discussion in that it probably doesn't make sense, just because of where the community garden is in relation to everything else. So if the community garden was in a different spot, it might be something that was feasible, but they're going to discuss it. They're going to talk to some folks. So there was a proposal, but we want to see if it's something that they're interested in, because it's an interesting spot.
Okay.
So, and it would probably warrant a discussion with the highway department as well.
Yeah.
Just because they'd have to.
They have to do the mowing around it.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Well, that's interesting.
So the big thing.
That wasn't the big thing?
No, this is the big thing.
Okay.
So, summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
Is
that's the big
happening.
thing. I know.
So that starts, it's for 4 weeks. It starts July 7th and it goes through August 1st. There are 50 seats available per week. So you can do 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, you can do an alternating weeks, you can do all 4. All of that will be open tomorrow.
The registration.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've heard it here first.
Wow.
Lauren sent an email out this afternoon.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
No.
So it is going to be open tomorrow.
Well, I haven't.
The key thing to know is that residents will actually have a 10-day open period.
Oh, that's
You mean before
Yes.
she opens it?
So what happens is that if all 50 seats are claimed by residents in the first week or so,
That's it?
then there will be no non-residents
Got it.
in the summer camp. So
How many, we have 50 spots?
50 seats, and she's fairly confident that those will probably all go in the first 7 days.
Wow, great. We hope so.
Yep.
It's
Janet?
a huge, it's a huge undertaking that
Yes.
she's taken on. I'm really, she's amazing.
She's very nervous, but
Oh,
she's also
she'll be
very
great.
excited. It's anxiety, excitement, it's
Yeah.
one of those. It's the appropriate balance of both. That is it.
Okey dokey, that
Can I
was
just
it.
ask you to repeat what that's for?
The summer camp? The summer camp? Yeah, summer camp for kids. Yep.
It's our first venture into summer camp. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Julia.
Cool. So 2 of the items are going to get discussed and one voted on tonight, or appointed. Lynn Tondrick was appointed to the CAC. She accepted the nomination, and she actually participated last month for the first time. And this meeting was on January 15th. There was an NRI update, and I'm not going to steal Margaret's thunder because she's going to present on that as the first agenda item. Following that, there was discussion on the pollinator maze, but Nathan already shared that with you. And so that was sort of pushed over to the Rec Commission for feedback, which Nathan just shared. The CAC discussed the proposed law on accessory dwelling units, a robust discussion on that. And I don't think a letter was submitted to the town board, but there was basically sort of unanimous that the CAC would trust the town board's judgment in voting for the ADU law. And then there was discussion around mowing at Lovett Preserve and the sort of the desire for more planning and just sort of organization around that and interfacing with the highway department on that.
And they want it mowed differently in the summer than the way.
I think Janet was talking about, yeah.
Yeah, we would like them not to completely mow it in the winter.
Oh.
There's a number of things we're looking at, but that's the one that is the initial thing that we were talking
Mhm.
about.
Okay.
I've been trying to get them to think differently about that for years because winter weeds, birds eat the seeds and also it's cover for wildlife. But the idea is to work out some sort of thing where you know half one year, or different half the next year, something of that nature.
I'm sure they'll be
Yeah.
willing
We
to do
We
that.
just have to, we have to talk to them a lot more to see what we
Mm-mm.
can.
And you have a year to do that because it's just.
Yes.
Then there was some discussion around refreshing the trail markers at Whitlock Preserve. There was also a transaction that was on Holman Road. 100 acres were purchased on Holman Road by the Winnicke Land Trust. So there was a discussion on working with the CAC to just present to the town hall and talk about what they might have in mind for that. It's a significant amount of land. And then,
He's going to own the whole town pretty soon.
oh, right, they own a lot, right? How much do they own? Several hundred acres.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
More than that.
quite a lot.
Yeah. And then there was a little bit of discussion and more needs to be fleshed out about the spotlights for 9/11, the 9/11 memorial spotlights in Town Hall. And just a little bit more needs to be fleshed out before speaking to Ed Zick. Yeah, exactly. And that's it.
I think that horse might have left the barn.
Well, I don't know.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just apropos of the property increasing the zone, Curtis did speak to, there is a woman who is dealing with the public around these things. So that Bob Davis is doing it all the time.
Well, he can be pretty elusive.
So at any rate, but there is a designated person now, Curtis did speak to her, And we asked her if she would come and talk to the CNC at least, and then perhaps beyond that, there's a lot of questions about whatever, and she was willing to do that. Haven't been set up yet,
Great,
but she's willing to do that.
great. Oh, me. The fire commission had their reorganizational meeting, and then the general meeting, and there was no new business. There seems to be rarely a lot of new business, but there was none at that meeting. The zoning commission, we spent 2 hours in conversation with a representative from NYSERDA, which is New York State Energy Research and Development Association, I think. Agency. We spoke at length, literally 2 hours, about large-scale battery storage systems. I didn't think there were 2 hours worth of things to talk about, but there were. And we did it because we had put a townwide moratorium on the development of them. So we're getting ourselves educated. This is really disturbing. We've had 2 reported instances of dead geese at Upton Lake. 2 now. And although the DEC did not come out to inspect the birds, they believe, given the symptoms, that they died of avian flu. This is obviously very distressing news. Please be super vigilant if you see dead birds, about handling them or letting your dogs or cats get near them. You should contact the DEC. And in my last newsletter, which not everybody gets, but I put in the information about how you contact the DEC, and there's a survey that they want people to fill out, and then they tell you how to dispose of the carcasses. But to me, it's slightly terrifying that it's come here, and a lot of people have chickens, and just the general state of the fact that birds are dying everywhere is pretty upsetting. I want to take a moment to remind you why the town board is introducing so many local laws this year. It directly connects to the passage of the comprehensive plan. Passage of that plan allowed the board to appoint the zoning commission, which is very carefully reviewing the old code, which dates back to 1982 and basically had nothing to do with the town of Stanford per se. The code was taken from a town in Westchester and just adopted. It has many flawed sections, so we're replacing the flawed sections with new code, which this happens first in the zoning commission, and then it comes to the town board. And many of you have been going through that process with us, because we have public hearings, and then people have been involved. We've hired a consultant that we've worked with before to work through the process of these new ordinances with us. And so that's why you will be seeing all year the introduction of many local laws, because we finally have the mechanisms in place to examine the old ones and put forth new ones. We'll be introducing the long-awaited right to farm bill, which will be local law 2, at the town board meeting in March. As you know, Stanford has a long and honored tradition as a farming community, and I'm pleased to bring this ordinance to the town board and to our community. We will, as always, hold a public hearing. That would be in April if we introduce the bill in March. The town board will be next taking up the short-term rental law, which will be a doozy, I'm sure. The governor signed the short-term rental registry bill last December, which provides counties with new revenue streams and stronger oversight of local short-term rentals. Starting in March 2025, counties will be able to collect taxes, like hotel taxes, but on short-term rental stays, including sales tax and occupancy tax. But the decisions on how to regulate short-term rentals within the town still are our purview here at the town board level. The zoning commission will continue to work on the ordinance concerning home businesses, and I do want to stress that the point of this law will not be to close any existing businesses. which was a concern raised when we were having public hearings on the comprehensive plan. Then tonight, after 3 public hearings, we will be voting on the adoption of Local Law 1, which is the ADU law. And I do want to thank everyone who participated in the public hearings for expressing their views and their concerns. And I want people to know that we carefully considered all the input before making our final determinations. There was a lot of talk and discussion about putting the best law forward, and we will make the recommendation that the town board in a year or 18 months review the law and see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked. And I think that's all I have to say.
Just about the fire department, like, I don't know if everyone read about it, but they were Herculean. I think they spent 8 or 10 hours working at 13 Hands Farm to help 2 horses that had fallen into water there. And
No, they
slipped on ice. They were in the fields.
they slipped on ice and they'd fallen.
They
Sorry.
fell and they couldn't get up.
They couldn't get up. And so the Stanford Fire Department, I mean, hats off to you guys. That was incredible.
Well, on that note, we actually contacted Patterson Fire Company because they responded up with their rescue truck, about 18 members, because they are trained in large animal rescue.
Is that right? Oh,
And so.
Patterson's by Carmel?
South of Pauling.
Yeah,
over
okay.
Putnam County.
Yeah.
So basically, hats off to Matt's Auto Body, right on point, Paul Teal, with their tow trucks, the
They
boom
lifted,
trucks.
they lifted
And
them.
Rhinebeck Equine came out with a sling, and we were able to get the horses in the sling and lift them up. The one, obviously walked her way to the barn, and the other one was transported to Rhinebeck Equine and unfortunately had to be put down.
Oh.
But they were like 29 and 30-year-old horses that were living a good life there. So-
But they shouldn't be down for a long period of time.
You know what, they were frozen. I mean, they were discovered around 8:30 in the morning. They don't know what time overnight they fell, but, it is what it is. I mean, they were just frozen. They just could not get their hind legs under them to stand up on their own.
poor things.
So ergo, we assisted, but unfortunately one had to be euthanized.
Thank you, Dennis.
Did you have a comment?
I had a question. This obviously was discussed before, but I'm just wondering what the ADU law is.
Oh, okay, well, you'll hear a little, well, maybe you won't. ADU is auxiliary dwelling unit. Accessory dwelling unit. So what this law does, it used to be very narrowly allowed. Like if you put an apartment above your garage, it had to be a relative that lived in it. It was very restrictive. And so part of the comprehensive plan, which we worked on for 40 years, after 40 years of, actually got worked on for a lot longer than that, but part of it, our mission in that was to make them more easier to obtain, because we have a shortage of rental properties, and it's a small gesture in the grand scheme of providing enough housing, but at least it's a start. So that's what it is.
Could I hear your name and address, please?
Naomi McCurran.
She puts it in the minutes.
No, we're going to be at your house. All of us.
That's fine. 6052 Route 82.
And you were just a little ahead of the rest of us, because what I'm going to do now is open up privilege of the floor.
Well,
What?
do you want that update?
Oh, but first Nathan has another
Sorry.
update.
Well, it's in an unofficial liaison capacity with the DOT.
Okay, yes, this is about our beloved Route 82.
Yeah, so for folks that may not know or recall, in the spring of last year, Chris Drago, our county legislature, and I had a meeting with the deputy regional director of the New York State DOT and one of their associates to go out on Route 82 and take a look at it. And they have since done maintenance repairs. And recently, Chris inquired and said, hey, are we any further up on the list of actually becoming part of the full paving plan? The short answer is no. So we are not on the list. And Chris inquired, so we are in an area what is called District 8, as far as the DOT is concerned. District 8 goes all the way from Westchester to Columbia County.
It's a big district.
So they have to maintain all of that. And so, and there's a lot of roadway there that they need to maintain. The challenge is that they have dwindling resources, which are people and budget. And the thing that they're also counteracting is that the material costs are going up. So they're being asked to maintain the same volume of road with the same budget, but the budget doesn't go as far. So Chris asked, is there any lobbying that we can do as far as like changing the district or something like that? And ultimately, the deputy director or deputy regional director said, lobbying, that's not really going to get you anything. It's really just a matter of resources. So I've been talking with Chris more conversationally, like, this sounds like something that we actually need to go outside of the DOT, and it's an Albany-based conversation, because we need the district to get more money. And I'm sure they are advocating from it, but maybe if others that are not directly employed by the DOT said, we need them to be funded because, so, if you're on 82 and other roads right now, you see they're already starting to become disrepair, which is what happens every tail end of the winter and spring. We may get an initial repair done in the early part of the spring, but we may have to wait till the July, August timeframe before any of that is repaired, because they're focusing, those May, June months are always focused on lawn care. So until the grass is not needing to be cut as often, that's when their people change focus, and that's when they start doing a lot of the repair work. So just wanted to let folks know that's kind of what's going on there.
So whose office do we have to do a sit-in?
Well, that's what Chris and that's what Chris and I are talking about is, Chris has already mentioned going to Barrett and going to Hinchy. But yeah, it may need to be something that they actually kind of help push at the state level.
Well, that was encouraging.
I'm sorry, it was a thing that's only transpired in the last 36 hours.
It's so hard for us to get any of this stuff, the speed limits, though there is a bill in both the Assembly and the Senate in Albany that would give local municipalities the authority to set speed limits on state roads that are dangerous in their town. If that passes, it'll be, astonishing. And I don't know what any of the qualifiers would be. Like, you have to prove that there were 17 deaths to, to say it was a danger. I don't know any of that, but I did note that it was a bill both in the Assembly and the House. But that's just speed limits.
Well, and they also still owe us speed and safety report for this area. So, what's that?
I believe I heard on the CBS News that's dropped.
It was dropped. Our request?
No, the requirement for the report, which was constant. If I heard that right, that would be a significant roadblock for me.
Oh, I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
I thought Mike over there had a question, by the way.
Well, we're going to open up right now. We're going to open up privilege of the floor. If you want to just ask a question, ask a question.
Just do it at the mic, though, because otherwise the recording doesn't pick it up.
We can't hear.
No, it's the recording can't pick it up.
I can't.
Well, or not too.
I just have a suggestion. Every time it snows, we get a quarter inch of snow and they're plowing up and down the road. I mean, that's what's destroying the roads, destroying the trucks. I mean, all night long, I live on 82. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I plow, and we don't plow driveways until it's 4 inches of snow.
Right.
All right? And then plowing a half inch of snow.
Yeah, they've been.
It's crazy.
They're wearing out the plow.
Would you go up to what privilege of the floor is you get to talk or ask questions, but you need to go over there and you need to say your name and your address for our town clerk, and then have at it.
In less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell.
My name is Emily, and I live at 14 Woods Drive, Clinton Corners, New York.
What's your last name?
Emily Rivas, Rivas.
Thank you.
And I know you spoke briefly about how the material pricing is getting expensive, obviously, but you also said that there was a shortage of people. And I noticed when even driving home from school and there's like construction on the road, I was wondering if like you can even get like volunteers from the town to even like help kind of like patrol the road, if that makes any sense. Because I see a lot of people, there's a lot of older people and then there's a lot of young people that will like ensure the safety of everybody driving. Obviously they can't help in repairing it, but they can at least help in the safety of others. So I just kind of was wondering if we could bring it about that the townspeople can even help in that.
I don't know, because the
Probably insurance.
Yeah, there's that.
Liability.
Yeah. There's the reason there are less people that they have on their workforce is from probably like a 2 or 3 decade change in how they wanted to operate the DOT at a state level, because they used to have, over the last I think 2.5 decades, they've seen a reduction in workforce by about 50%. So it's really just hard to get people back because that's what they've been operating at. And so unless things really start to deteriorate throughout the state, there's not going to be a push for them to hire more people.
Okay.
And yes, you could have folks that they could, on a district level, they could go and potentially ask for help. But yeah, there's definitely legal and safety concerns of putting non-employed people on the roadway. But I like the thinking. It's outside the box thinking that I think needs to get this fixed, which is what Chris and I are trying to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Anybody else for privilege of the floor? There's a second one. If you're feeling shy, you can get your courage up and speak at the end of the meeting. If there's no more comments or questions, then I will close the privilege of the floor, and we will move on to new business. And our very first item is Margaret Fallon, who is going to do a presentation on the CAC has been hard at work on a natural resource inventory, and Margaret's going to tell us about it.
Yes, and I'll try to be quick. So we keep using the acronym NRI. So an NRI is a natural resource inventory, and a natural resource inventory is a document that organizes and catalogs the physical and biological characteristics of an area and then collects the data into a usable format for people, community members, but more importantly for legislative bodies. And so the NRI is not a document or process that makes any decisions. It certainly, again, is not passing any legislation, but it provides information for the people who do the planning, and it might have information on fish and wildlife, birds, forests, agriculture, wetlands, streams, soils, really any sort of resource that you can think of. And usually communities periodically update their NRI to help with zoning, to help with planning, but as we were saying earlier with the comprehensive plan, to make sure, again, that local governments have the most up-to-date information to make the decisions that they need to make. So why is Stanford completing an NRI? It is because of the comprehensive plan that Wendy was referencing earlier. So during the many public hearings and public meetings over the comprehensive plan, many community members requested, asked for more updated maps, especially, and more updated data, more updated information to help make those decisions. So the NRI really fulfills that request that the public made. The late Gary Lovett worked tirelessly to win a grant from the state, which has funded this project. And then many local scientists have also really donated a great deal of time and expertise to the project. So why am I here? The NRI is really in the final stages. And so the CAC wanted to update the community about the progress of the NRI. But really, we also wanted to include the community in the process when it's in the draft form, so community input can actually influence the final version. So we would like community members to look at the various maps that have been produced by all the different scientists and really compare them to their own knowledge of the town, because who knows the town better than the people who've lived here for a million years? Or less than a million years. It's been some of us who've been here a million years.
Multi-generational.
So, if people are interested, if you love maps, you could look at every single one, or you could really just look at your street, your parcel, your neighborhood, and focus on that. So, for example, this is there's about 20 different types of maps. They all have different themes.
Beautiful.
For the video camera. So this is the one on streams. So again, you can try to find your road. Not every road is on it, but most major roads are. And you can figure out your little quadrants. So I don't think you're going to find a missing stream. But just make sure that the undulations of different waterways are in the right spot. But like another map that has to do with forests, like maybe you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, that map says there's forests and that's on my road and there aren't forests there. So that's really what we're looking for. So once you do that, how do you let us know so we can put it in the final draft? There's two different ways. There's a high-tech version, which, yes, we do prefer. And so the high-tech version is if you go to the town website and click on the link at the very, very top of the page, there's a link to the latest newsletter, or you can, if you get it, you can do that in your email. And that will bring you to a Google form, and there will be these different 20 maps, and they're all labeled. Like if you're interested in forests, if you wanted to know the type of bedrock, you could look at that map. And then if you have a specific comment, again, if you had a comment, that stream doesn't exist, you could input it on that Google form. And then if everything looked great, you could make that comment as well. If it's not possible for people to look at the digital online version, we do again have these beautiful hard copies for the different maps. Right now they're in the community room. They might not be able to stay there. But if anyone can't visit them in the community room when town hall is open, people could email us at the CAC at the town of Stanford, or people could leave a message in our CAC box. Or if people look at the hard copies and they would prefer to leave a written type of input, they could also leave that in the town box for us. We are also looking for the final draft of the NRI is any local photographs that people feel, like local birds, local wildlife, fishing, any trees, forestry, meadow, whatever. We'd love to include people's photographs in the final version. And that's it.
How do we get you the photograph? Email?
Yeah, the CAC, a town of Stanford, would be the best way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Margaret, since the newsletter changes theoretically every week, what I'll do is right on the home page of the town, instead of putting it back with the CAC, I'll just have those links put right on the...
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
And if you could add on that the deadline is March 31st.
Okay.
Because we are working with a state grant, we do have pretty strict deadlines to get the information back to them. But if people could get it in before that would be wonderful.
Okay.
And thank you for putting on, yes.
I have two questions.
Oh.
I'm going to give you the easy one first.
Okay.
Is there a recommended time period that you would update the NRI?
You mean from recommendation from the state?
Like you're finishing it, in theory.
Yeah.
Would there be a time in the future, like a decade, 25 years?
It does seem to be like most of, this is a lot of our neighbors, like Millbrook just finished it, Clinton just finished it. It does seem to be like 20 years is a long time to go without an update. And so that seems to be, between a decade and 20 years seems to be the norm.
Right,
Yeah,
the hard
unless, Mike, Janet, do you think?
Yeah, I was just going to think that's great.
Yeah.
I think 10 years is
Yeah. Yeah, so 20 years too long.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
hard question.
Well,
So-
that one wasn't easy, so.
So if, I'm referencing this one in particular because if there is a body of water that is mapped on here, is that going to be somehow cross-referenced with the county or state? Because there is a body of water that I'm aware of that I called about to see if work was going to be done around it, and they acknowledged that there wasn't anything there, when in fact there is, that and it feeds eventually into Wappingers Creek,
I'm sorry, who's they?
the DEC.
The DEC.
So
That's
there wasn't
interesting.
water where there's water?
Yep. So they said, go ahead and do whatever you want.
They didn't come out to look?
Nope, I offered. So I'm wondering if there's a cross-reference of that material that they're gonna end up getting a copy of, and they will update their
I
records.
assume, okay, we have someone else answering.
The work product, the natural resource inventory is for the state.
Okay.
It doesn't
So-
do anything.
No, but it would presumably force them to reevaluate what they have on their records.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, but the DEC is also one of our sources.
Right, which is why I
Yeah.
was kind of wondering about
Right.
this. So I'll look at that map.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
For
right,
this
well, it will
particular
be in the
thing.
community room for you to peruse, and please use the Google form to
I
submit
will,
your
I will.
information.
I'll use the high-tech version.
Okay.
Margaret, you know
Thanks, Margaret.
what's amazing? It's like you and Nathan and I were all involved in the comprehensive plan, and now we're sitting here, that was 2 Decembers ago, maybe? We were sitting here and like laws are happening and the NR, it's
Yeah,
happening.
it's great.
It's so
great.
exciting, like, woo,
Yes, it's good. It's good. Good things happen.
good things happen if you wait long enough. Okey dokey. Oh, yes, Janet? Sure. Yeah, because you speak very softly, so.
Yeah, it's mostly for the recording.
It's for the
'cause
recording, but.
I can speak firsthand because I've watched the recordings and then I can't hear people if they don't come up.
Janet Allison, 28 Patricia Lane. So, without my question.
Janet,
Microphone, please.
migrate over to the,
Yeah.
you do all the way.
Or Anthony can bring it to you, but I don't think there's enough line. You can play host.
Okay, Janet Allison, 28 Patricia Lane, Clinton Corners. So the question that I had is, how big is this body of water that you're talking about? I'd be curious to know where it is, but you may not want to say. But,
No, I can say where it is.
But how big? Is it a
So-
quarter-acre pond, or what, you know?
No, it
Yeah.
feeds into, so it's a waterway that cuts through at least 2 5-acre properties, if not more.
Okay.
And it starts, what's the address of your road? What's the name of your road?
Hate Hill Road.
Hate Hill Road. So it starts just
address
north
of
of
your
Hate Hill Road. I know,
Okay.
I had something
okay.
else in my mind.
It's okay.
It starts just north of that
Yeah.
on Bull's Head. And it follows on the eastern side of that all the way down until you have that hard corner right before Gristmill, and there's a culvert that it goes under.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
And then there's a stream there, and then there's a private pond.
I know where that
And then
is.
that keeps feeding into the Wappingers Creek on Gristmill.
Mhm. Okay. I
And,
just,
and it actually creates a pond on our property. And there's been things that have happened in that pond that shouldn't have happened either, but
I don't want to know. The only reason.
Okay.
The only reason I asked the question is because there are ephemeral ponds and, you know, as things get moved, you know, as the earth changes, which it is
Yeah.
always changing, you know, one storm can put something off in another direction. And I could kind of understand
it's
if they
been there
don't
long
want to
enough that
keep
they
up
put a
with
culvert
stuff of
to
that
navigate
nature.
the water under the road.
Yeah,
Right.
So it's been there long enough.
Yeah.
And it does feed in from the neighboring property, and they've got a full stream through it, and they have a bridge over the
Really?
water and stuff, so I mean, it's,
It's a body of water.
Yeah.
a bridge over troubled water.
yes.
Troubling water.
Oh, right. Okay, then. I Patty and Carolyn and Dennis have been so patient down there at the very back of the room, and they're here. We're doing the annual approval of the books, which is more of a ritual than anything else. But every year, I guess 3 of the departments, come and present their books to us. And we look at them very briefly, but the point is to show us what their department does and how they're organized. It's not for us to sit here and read every entry. So, Carolyn, are you up first? These are our 2 incredibly hardworking court clerks.
I know. I love it.
That's old school.
Whatever you do, don't trip.
Uh-oh, Nathan's ready.
Okay, so
gonna
this
check
is our
everyone.
accounting. I have about 4 receipt books that I started with that I've always used forever. And now I use the last receipt book, and I am now doing receipts on the computer online, and it's an automated numbering system.
Good.
And it cuts down on purchase of receipt books and having to carry these around with me. So I'm only bringing one to show you the last receipt book that I did.
Which we should memorialize.
And then we go on.
So this is just 1 month, basically.
That is, it's, yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's a lot.
Yes. And these folders consist of the, from January to December of 2024.
Incredible.
They're the monthly reports, the, every deposit, a cash book, and a receipt. The monthly report is here. The bank statement and our statement from the state, and the supervisor gets a different copy of this. And this is everything, and then starting in mid-September, when I ran out of the receipt books, these are the receipts.
Okay.
And this is a cash book by receipt number. So it's kind of like a triple check
Yeah.
to make sure that everything balances. So
Oh, God.
Carolyn,
Maybe
how long
you
have you
should-
been a court clerk for?
I've been a court clerk.
Why don't you just take one of these so we don't-
40th.
Wow.
I mean, like more than that with the whole math.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
43, so you must be 42.
Throw my glasses on quick to this.
Wow. And you're responsible for, what, like 200, how much money did you receipt in last year?
This is my receipt, the bottom line is the
197.
amount,
Yeah,
almost 200.
almost 200.
And my bail has nothing in it for this year, because we don't take bail anymore, so I do have a zero.
That's another thing I heard from Albany, is that she's redoing the bail.
Making it,
I think she's kind of activating it again.
well, that's good.
Nice, that's nice.
Better for, I don't know, that's more bookkeeping for us, but
Yeah, but I think it'll make the system
yes.
better.
yeah.
Are there certain months where you collect much more? Like what?
Much more,
Why?
yes.
What?
Depends on when the fine notices go out.
I see.
When the people, the defendants send back their tickets. We try once a month to do a fail to pay, because people do fail to pay. And so then we do that, and that kind of brings in a little bit more, depending on when we do that and when they send that in. And then we do, if they do not pay, we do a civil judgment,
Yeah.
because we cannot suspend failure to pay due to the law that was put in.
Revenue's almost 200K.
Right.
And
a year.
it's been that way since.
Lucrative.
We can only suspend on failed to answer. So that makes us have to do this.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah.
These, I don't know if you want.
No,
it's okay.
No, I think one will be representative. I have
This
a
back,
horrifying
Yeah.
picture of somebody
There you
dropping
go,
one.
thank you very much.
Okay.
It's very
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Don't speed.
And then this is the checkbook.
Don't speed on the
You know-
Taconic.
Oh, no,
Just learn-
never.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think this is a great lesson that if you violate the speed limit, right, you are helping kill entire forests. Like, I mean,
Spoken only as Teddy would speak.
Yeah,
I'm concerned, I
I
speak
know.
for the trees.
I know.
But you're helping our town finances.
I am.
Right.
Yes.
It's not just speed, though.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
it's some of the things in there.
Other
are-
things, yeah.
And now we have,
This
is so stupid. Wendy.
On the, like by accident.
Just hers? Excuse me,
Running a stop
guys,
sign.
I make a motion to approve the books that Carolyn Harkle Road has presented, which are Judge Smith's books.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Dennis?
Yes.
What kind of criminal cases does the court see? Is it just misdemeanors, or?
Well, the way the law is the local criminal court has preliminary jurisdiction, arraignment jurisdiction over any crime. All right? It has trial jurisdiction over misdemeanors or less.
Okay.
All right? So any felony
Yep.
will go to the county court. But
But you do the arraignments?
Poughkeepsie.
just last month, I arraigned 2 gentlemen for possession of a ghost handgun.
In our town?
Which is a Class C violent felony.
Huh.
They both went to jail.
In our town?
It was arraignment for LaGrange.
Huh.
And then later that night, I did an arraignment for 2 other gentlemen in LaGrange that had 1.22 kilos of cocaine on them. That's an A1 felony.
That's like 3 pounds
They
of
went to jail.
cocaine. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So you just please tell Regina
I see
to
it all.
get off my tiny, yeah, okay, thank
That
you,
was a busy
Dennis.
day.
And then Dennis, and then you, I mean, obviously those are felonies, so you just sort of send them up.
Once I arraign them, and
Yeah.
go to jail, then the ball starts rolling, the DA's office gets
Gotcha.
involved, probation, defense,
Right.
you know, so.
We don't have a jail.
Oh, gosh, no,
No.
We should.
my office, yeah, come on.
Your basement.
Spend enough time with the
Patty, come on,
playground.
Patty, come on.
And I just wanted to touch on something that Carolyn touched on about the civil judgments. When the bail reform law was enacted, one of the things that they took away, one of the powers they took away from the local criminal courts, and I've discussed this with Wendy, is we can no longer suspend people for failing to pay their tickets. So they know that. So we have tens of thousands of dollars outstanding there that is going unpaid, collected. Tens of thousands. That's just our court. Now you multiply that by statewide.
What was the impetus for that? Just because of COVID?
Yeah, that was the,
Yeah.
It was, the downtrodden and, so basically, you can do whatever you want and you don't have to.
You
pay
commit a
the
crime,
price. Yeah.
but you don't have to pay for
okay,
it.
I'm not sure that was the,
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So anyway,
But on the flip
Patty,
side-
come on up.
On the flip side
Save
of
the
that,
trees.
though, it creates so much more work for the court clerks.
Yeah.
Then all that paperwork, I have to sign each one, stamp it, great more work for me. Then it goes to the DA's office, and they have to file it with the county clerk.
Yeah.
So it's just, you talking about killing trees?
Can't suspend your
We kill a
license.
lot of trees here.
But have you heard that there's bail reform coming down again from Albany? Because I read it.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Okey dokey.
Can I ask one more question?
No, let's keep going. Sure, go for it.
I'm fascinated.
Okay.
So if I.
court.
If I.
Yeah, just go sit in the court.
I don't know, commit a misdemeanor, like, I don't know, I throw my garbage in Wappingers Creek, right?
Teddy comes after you.
Teddy drags me up in front of you. What do you do to me? Like, I mean,
You put him in Nathan's pond.
well, in the big scheme of things, the way criminal action is started is you get arrested
sure.
by a police officer, so
Right.
paperwork is filed. you're probably issued a parent's ticket, or if you, for immediate arraignment, you come before me,
Right.
and it gets adjourned, and then you show up on the criminal docket, which our criminal docket in Stanford is the fourth Wednesday of every month. That's 3 p.m.
Keep the date open.
Right.
And then that's when the DA's office comes in, that's when the defense attorney, the public defender comes in,
Uh-huh.
and then, the case goes through the motions, and,
Do you say you're guilty? You're guilty. and you
Okay.
should go to jail? We can talk later. We'll talk later.
Patty, dear, Patty is the court clerk for Dennis. And boy, do they have fun back there.
All right, mine is just like Carolyn's, basically. I have, here, I'll show you first, this is mine, where everything is docketed, deposit and everything. I'll get you the book.
Yeah.
Okay, and
You guys have
then-
different
Yep,
formats.
yeah. The other books I ran out of.
Yes, we're very conscious of costs because we're spending everything on stamps this year.
And then, of course, mine are the same thing. This is basically how the bail goes.
Mhm.
Mine are the same thing as hers. Carolyn's, I'm sorry, all my cash book reports, bank statements,
Yeah, I know.
monthly
Wow.
reports of each month is all in here. I don't know if you.
Why is yours so much higher than? Okay, sorry.
I just can't answer that.
Oh, no, but I'm so curious. I'm curious. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the paper, but it's
You can look.
interesting.
Oh, this is bail too.
Okay.
No,
I'm not going to look at all of
You
them.
keep those and
All right.
I don't want to drop them.
I'll look at one of them. Tell me which month to look at.
Look at January.
Okay.
Is this the entire year?
No, well, the summary, but it's the last page. The last.
Yep.
I'll hand this back, maybe.
No. Oh,
I'm
I shouldn't
okay.
say that. You just have to be here so early in the morning tomorrow. I'm trying to get you out of here.
There you go, thank you.
Oh, you are coming in tomorrow night. Are you going to work on Monday? Even though, okay, good. No. No, I want you to not.
Cool. Thank you. I always learn something every time
Do
you
I
guys
hear
come and
complaints
present.
coming from?
And you're more than welcome to come sit.
Do I hear complaints?
I would like
We have
to.
We have to be there, of course.
Time stands still.
Welcome to come and sit. Look,
What time does it start?
we're usually there, starts at 9. We're usually there. We come in early always, just to get our.
Is everybody okay if I don't?
Yeah.
No, please don't.
Yeah. No.
I'll look at it later. I'll add it to my reading list.
Patty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Patty.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
for-
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you for the amazing job you guys do.
I'm gonna say Dennis, he's an awesome judge.
He is an awesome.
He does a lot of my paperwork. He helps me.
I make a motion to approve of Judge Buchwald's and Patty Koch's books.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, I'm making an executive decision here, and I'm going to hold off on the presentation of your books, and thank you so
Mine
much.
too?
Yours and the building until the end of the meetings,
Oh,
because
that's fine.
nobody wants to sit here and watch us look at people's books.
That's fine.
Okay, so we're moving on to law number 1 of 2025, which is the ADU law. And, let's see, so is the first thing we need to do 2C?
Let me, if I may, I could
Please, take it over.
walk you through it.
Take
So-
it through us,
So the
take
first
us
thing,
through it.
I have circulated to all the board members the documentation in support of this local law. The first step is to complete the seeker determinations, which has to be done before you can take action on it.
Would you explain to the students what a seeker determination
Okay,
is?
seeker
Please.
is an acronym, SEQRA, which stands for State Environmental Quality Review Act. And this requires that before taking action on a municipal decision, the board has to first review environmental impacts. And On simple matters, this can be a very simple process, and on more complicated matters that are more likely to have an impact, it's a more extensive project. And in this case, it's an amendment to the zoning law, and so that the procedure's a little more extensive than in a very routine matter. So we have we're reviewing what's called a full environmental assessment form, which has a number of questions in it, and I had circulated part 2 of the form to the board, which we had completed with some suggested answers, but these are for review by the board. This is an amendment to the zoning law, so we're not really building any projects with this. So on the questions where on impact on land, there are about 16 different categories here. So in terms of physical impacts, for the most part, there were no impacts found. And then there were a couple of categories towards the end where it says consistency with the community plans and consistency with community character. There were some very minor, small or negligible impacts, so we noted that. And the board needs to review this, and if there are any, I have copies of it. If you'd like to, a few copies.
Didn't we look at this once already?
Well, we completed the part 1. And
Okay.
the part 1 of this form was approved last summer.
Right.
At the time of the previous version.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next step, after reviewing the form, and if that's acceptable to the board, is part 3 of the secret form, which is basically the board's findings, and whether the board finds that there's a likelihood of a substantial environmental impact. And we prepared a finding statement, and I could read that. It's fairly short.
Okay, thank you.
We said, it says that the enactment of this local law, which would amend the Stanford Code to allow accessory dwelling units in all zoning districts in the town, is not expected to have any adverse environmental impacts. It requires accessory dwelling units to be less than or equal to 1,500 square feet in area. Both the principal dwelling and the accessory dwelling unit are required to be in full compliance with standards of Dutchess County Department of Health. Water quality tests are required to be performed by an independent individual or entity qualified to conduct tests and submitted to the building inspector to determine that the water supply is safe for domestic use and adequate quantities to supply the principal dwelling and the accessory dwelling with potable water. Accessible dwelling units are required to meet all applicable building codes, including the state uniform fire prevention and building codes. As accessory dwelling units are not expected to require significant amount of water use, are not expected to generate a significant amount of additional sewage, are not expected to generate any significant odors, and are not expected to generate any significant additional traffic or parking requirements, the impact to the environment will be inconsequential. So if the board agrees on this, then you should take a vote on this. And this is the first resolution, which is called this is a secret determination, and it basically says that there are no substantial environmental impacts.
2D.
And this is also
2D.
what's called a negative declaration.
Right.
That's 2D, right, Bob?
I don't think
Yeah.
Bob knows.
2D?
2D, yes, the secret determination.
And I have copies if you need them.
Yeah. No, I have.
We all got them. I mean, I hope we all got them. So-
This will also authorize you, Wendy, to sign this Part 3
Okay.
when this is approved.
So, we need a motion to approve the full environmental assessment form, Part 2?
This is to make the seeker determination. This is resolution Part 2. 2D.
Okay, so it's resolution of seeker determination for local law amending Chapter 164 of the Town Code to allow accessory dwelling units in all zoning districts. So, I make a motion to pass resolution number 2 of 2025.
To what?
2D. 2D, sorry. There are many.
No, I know. I thought we were doing C first.
I thought so too.
Okay.
My bad.
I'll second.
Yeah.
All right, Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Judy Dakota.
Yeah.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
Okay, Counselor, now what do we do?
Okay.
No, not right now. We're in the middle of something. Thanks. Sorry.
All right, so then you can proceed to enact the local law.
Which
would
is
be the-
2C,
Which
right?
is choose C.
Yeah.
Which is
2C.
2C.
Well, it's resolution 2C, but it's local law number 1.
Right. So so the motion is to adopt resolution to adopt, it's actually to enact local law number 1 of 2025, and it's called Resolution 2C.
Yep.
So I make that motion to enact local law 1 of 2025, a local law amending Chapter 164 of the Town Code to allow accessory dwelling units in all zoning districts.
Second.
Thank you, Teddy. Is there any discussion?
And we're just going to vote, right?
Yeah, unless.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Judy Dakota,
No.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
Thank you.
I can explain. We've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, and Wendy, for the record, please, please sign this. Your signature line is sort of in the middle of the page there.
Okey dokey.
That's the negative declaration.
Oh, I might have signed it in the wrong place. Yep. Thank you. So now, are we moving on to proposed law number 2, authorizing a property tax exemption for accessory dwelling units, which is local law number 2E, which is what we have to do on
Resolution 2E.
Number 2.
Sorry. Local law number 2, resolution number 2E, when we're in the process of passing a local law, the first month, what we have to do is just introduce it to the public. And then next month, we'll be having a public hearing for to get people's comments on the law. So this law authorizes a property tax exemption for the creation of these ADUs under Section 421P of the New York State Real Property Tax Law. We're not going to read this whole law.
You're making a motion to introduce this.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I am making a motion to introduce this. I'm not going to read the whole law. It will be on, Rita will have it in her office.
And in the minutes.
And in the minutes.
And Wendy, this also will schedule the public hearing.
Yes, yes.
And you need to set the date on that.
Yes, thank you. So basically, if you are going to invest in creating an ADU, which you then will rent, you're doing the town a service, and you're doing, because you're creating a rental unit in a place where there are not sufficient rental units. And so the state made it possible to get a tax exemption for that expenditure of funds and creating the unit. Yeah, so I made a motion, or I make a motion.
Second?
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Judy Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secord.
Yes.
And then
Do you want to set the date now?
yeah, the date for the public hearing will be the March Town Board meeting,
Same date.
13th.
13th.
March 13th.
Yeah, the dates are exactly the same.
I make a motion to set the public hearing for March 13th, 2025, Town Board meeting.
Second?
Second. Oh,
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Judy Dakota,
yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
excuse me, Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secord.
Yes.
That's what I think.
And, oh, that's yours. I'm looking at yours. Looking at mine. I think I lost mine. Then we have it, this is very unusual that we're introducing all these laws in one swell swoop, but we have another law that's, we did this last year. We have to redo it every year, right?
No,
Oh, is this because
of
it's
a-
the-
This is because of a change in the state law. Last year, the town board passed a law that allows a property tax exemption, partial property tax exemption, reduction, let's say, to volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers who work for the fire district, fire company, or ambulance district that serves the town. Subsequently, over the last year, the state has adopted an amendment of the authority for this that allows the town residents to work for a fire district or a ambulance district in a neighboring town, and receive the deduction also. So we're amending the deduction so that a person who, a property owner who lives in the town but serves an adjoining town can also get this deduction.
And we do have, at the moment, we do have one person in Stanford who lives here, but I think it might be Amelia, but he does do volunteer work for the Amelia Fire Department. So this is a small way that we can help compensate all of these volunteers. Okay, Nathan, why don't you make the motion?
Are you making the motion to adopt this?
Nathan.
I am.
Nathan,
Introduce.
Yeah,
excuse
so
me.
I'm,
Yep.
this is,
And second.
it's Resolution 2 after 2025, which is the introduction of local law number 3, which is the local law amending the chapter 144 of the town code to extend the property right exemption to a wider group of volunteers.
I second.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secord.
Yes.
And we have some
Public hearing on,
February 13th.
March 13th.
March 13th. Today, let's have the public hearing. Catch everybody
No.
off.
Please, dear God, no.
Yeah, and the answer is no.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for proposed local law number 3 for March 13th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Wendy Burton,
Yes?
Julia Dakota,
Yeah.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secord.
Yes.
'Kay, we can zip through the next bunch of items on the agenda. I make a motion to appoint Ray Storms as the town hall custodian, retroactive to February 4th, 2025.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to appoint Laura Viscusi
Yep.
to the planning board. This is very exciting. Julie and I met with her, yes, it was just yesterday. Yesterday, and the planning board had met with two people and recommended Laura, and I hope this isn't a odd thing to say, but for me, it's really exciting to finally have a woman on the planning board. I guess we had one, Rita says, back in ancient days, we did have another female, but. So I make a motion to appoint Laura Viscusi.
Second.
And her, excuse me, her term will go through 2029.
Okay.
She's
Cool.
excited.
Yeah, she is excited.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to appoint Lynn Tondrick to the CAC.
Second.
You guys are going quicker than I can.
AI.
All in favor?
Aye.
And her term goes through the end of this year.
Oh, goodness.
only a
Oh, because
one-year
who she's
She's
replacing.
replacing Barry.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But the CAC only has 2-year terms. They're short ones.
planning board is, when is she? To
5
the-
years.
5 years, wow, okay. I make a motion to appoint Ted Iglett for the annual audit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rita, do you have the names of the
I
historic?
do, right here.
Okay.
You know, I'm upset she has that list. I was going to make a point of information and ask for that list of members.
Well, I beat you to it.
Yeah. Should beat you to it.
I make a motion to appoint the Historic Preservation Committee, which is Kathy Spears, James Redmond, Charlie Shaw, and Geneva Sims.
Second.
Oh, my goodness.
All in favor?
You may just
Aye.
blow them.
Aye.
Aye.
Rita, there's two M's in Sims.
My mistake.
It's all good.
Okay.
It's like the no H in Rhonda.
Or G and Jeff.
So resolution 2A, which I'm definitely not read, but it's a budget modification resolution. We go through the whole year, and every thing that we do in the town has a budget line assigned to it. So the highway has their budget, and it's broken down by machinery and parts and blah, blah, blah. And we have a budget, and again, it's broken down into many, many parts, and at some point, it might be interesting for you to look at it. It's a little bit of, it's a challenge to write the budget because costs go up every year, and you look at past years to see what did we spend on salt for the roads, but you just never know. I mean, it's always your best guesstimate. It's a pretty lengthy process. But anyway, all through the year, if somebody goes over on a line, like, oops, I bought too many stamps because we're sending out more summonses, we have to balance the books. So when there's a line that didn't use all their funds, we just do adjustments. So this is a very long one, even though we keep up with it all year round. At the end of the year, they come in, they sneak up on us, and we have to fix them. There were a lot of modifications for salary lines because we had an extra pay period this year, which threw everything off. Besides that. So anyway, I make a motion, it's whereas the town of Stanford has expenditures for the adopted 2024, last year's general fund budget lines, and the highway fund budget lines that will exceed the amount of fund available in these certain budget lines. And whereas the general fund and the highway funds have funds available in other lines and need to transfer such funds to provide for expenditures, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Stanford Town Board hereby amends and transfers from and to budget lines listed below for fiscal year 2024, and the amounts total $37,623.69.
Second.
Thank you.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
And then for the fans of Whitlock Preserve, I have Budget Modification Resolution 2B of 2025, whereas the town of Stanford has a New York class reserve account dedicated solely to the maintenance of Whitlock Preserve, and whereas the general fund was used to pay an invoice for work done cleaning trails at Whitlock Preserve by Beech Tree Landscaping in the amount of $1,780. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Stanford Town Board authorizes the town supervisor to transfer $1,780 from the Whitlock Preserve account to the Millbrook General Fund account.
Second.
Thank you.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
Okay, and now, Julia, you're up at bat with Resolution 2G of 2025.
Yeah, so just a little bit of background on this one. We have a very, very large and very active LGBTQIA plus community in Stanford, and in light of just recent news, we felt as a town board that we wanted to put together a statement of our support and protection of those community members. So I'm going to read that out loud. And this is resolution number 2G, Resident Support and Protection Resolution of the LGBTQIA plus community members. Whereas the town of, and it's long, so I apologize, but I think it's important to read. We think it's important to read. Whereas the town of Stanford is home to a diverse community that includes many community members who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and/or as other genders and/or sexual identities, as well as allies, henceforth referred to as the LGBTQIA plus community members, who contribute to the progress, culture, and success of our country, state, region, and town. And whereas LGBTQIA plus community members continue to be a target of violence, harassment, and discrimination, with hate crimes against these communities increasing every year for the past several years across the United States. And whereas legislation that seeks to reduce the rights of these community members has been introduced across the United States at record levels in the past several years, prompting the Human Rights Campaign to declare a state of emergency. And whereas extremist groups that seek to reduce the rights of LGBTQIA plus community members and limit or ban inclusive teaching about their rights, their lives, and their culture are active in the United States. And whereas the town of Stanford is clear in its opposition to any discrimination against members of these communities, and that the right of any individual to practice their own religion does not extend to the denial of the constitutional rights of the LGBTQIA plus community, its members, or others. And whereas the town of Stanford is clear in its support for equality for LGBTQIA plus community members, commitment to ending violence, bullying, and discrimination against LGBTQIA plus community members, and ensure that they are treated with dignity and respect in their communities, their workplaces, and their schools. And therefore, be it resolved that the town of Stanford affirms the full civil and human rights of our LGBTQIA plus community members, and be it further resolved that we will work to ensure that discriminatory or exclusionary terms and phrases regarding gender identity and/or sexual orientation are corrected both in speech during our meetings and in written form in our documentation. Be it further resolved that we condemn all violence and hatred against LGBTQIA plus people, spaces, businesses, events, and/or art. And be it further resolved that we stand in opposition to any and all legislation that diminishes the safety, health, civil rights, and/or bodily autonomy of LGBTQIA plus people, seeks to support and protection.
Seems to support and
Seeks to
protect.
support and protect for all rural residents and rural workers in the LGBTQIA plus community.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Hell yes.
Nathan, would you like to make a motion about the pavilion fees?
Yes, so, this is not a resolution, but it's a,
A motion.
yeah, it's a motion,
It's
not a
a
resolution.
motion.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that the
One
board-
second, Rita, did you get a second on that? I don't
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I-
Nathan.
Okay, it went so quick.
Make a motion for the board to authorize the Recreation Committee to collect fees of $200 per day for residents for in-season use of the pavilion, which is considered when the waterfront is open, $150 for off-season when the pavilion, the waterfront is closed, and $300 a day for non-residents during the in-season period, and $250 for off-season periods.
I second that. That's for non-residents.
Correct.
350 for in-season, 300 out of.
No, 300 and 250.
Yep.
300 and 250.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How's your hand, Rita?
Getting sore. And who seconded that, Wendy?
I did.
All in favor?
Okay, so, I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 9th.
I will second that.
Okay.
Roll call.
No, I'm just going to do all in favor, and then you can tell me who.
Okay.
So for January 9th, Teddy seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Aye.
Patrick.
Okay.
It's everyone but me and Nathan, because we weren't present.
Okay, so no for Nathan and no for Eric.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a
Well,
no, it's an
no,
abs-
Let's
it's an-
abstain.
Abstain,
Yeah,
excuse me.
Yeah, give us a.
But they're not rejecting your name.
Better than I
Exactly.
tried. Then all in favor with those
We were.
three? Good.
Yes. And then I make a motion, we have two abstracts for February. One which covers, it's called the abstract is the document that shows monthly what the different funds expend. They're the bills that we pay every month. But for January and February, we have to do two separate abstracts because we're still paying bills that came in for 2024, which we need to separate for fiscal reasons from the bills that we're paying for 2025. So approval of abstract number 2 for February 2025, which is post-year, so those are actually the 2024 bills. General fund was $26,144.13. Highway was $2,665.50, and the Bengal Light District was $1,008.24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the abstract number 2 for February 20, shouldn't it be 2B or something?
No, I probably should have done that.
Yeah.
A
We'll call
and
it
B.
2B.
I'll fix it.
Okay, 2A and 2B. That's for this current year. This is a doozy. General fund, we spent $143,976.70. I think a lot of that were insurance payments for this coming year, and PERMA maybe. Highway fund was $99,927.59. The ambulance, as always, was $62,500, and escrow for the planning board was $126.25.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
There was something I wanted to say.
Did I forgot to put on the second privilege of the floor?
Yes.
No, that's
You did.
not what it was. There was
You did.
something
It's not here.
I did.
I wanted to point out about,
Burdick Park?
no. Never mind. I wanted to say something about it doesn't matter because I can't remember what it was. Okay, last business is I make a motion to approve an expenditure by the Burdick Park Committee for $2,800 to haul surveying so that they can have Burdick Park properly surveyed before we begin work on it. I'm very happy to say that after, 5 years into the Burdick Park adventure, we're finally moving forward, and we're going to have a park there. We've raised funds to do most of the work, or a lot of the work in phases. So this will be the first thing that we'll do, is to get the property surveyed.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Jim, I'm sorry you had to wait this long, but we're now going to have the second privilege of the floor. If anybody has
I just
anything.
had a question about the environmental part of the local law number 1. I think it's local law number 1.
What do you want, if you want to ask it, just come up and state your name and.
I'll catch it during the week.
Yes, ma'am.
Could we please have a bigger sign?
Of course. You don't have to stand up at the podium for that.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for your thoughtful questions.
I really do love it
Yeah.
when you come.
It was very informative. It's good to come.
Come back next one.
Well, I really try to make it like a learning, like if we just went through all this stuff about explaining it, you'd be sitting, yeah. So I think it's important, because I want you to come back, and I want you eventually to get involved in.
So they're going to miss the town clerk's part, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, the town clerk's books.
Yeah. Okay, we're.
You can't adjourn yet.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
Not yet. We need the clerk's books.
Oh. But I just wanted to know, I mean, as
That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely have to get numbers.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna.
I have something for you. Come to me in my office.
We're definitely open.
We're not adjourned.
We're not
I know,
adjourned yet.
but Rita's going to present her books.
I think he's still filming though, too.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah, we're absolutely open. I
We're
think- I
working
mean,
on something.
Wonderful. That's good to hear. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We could have combined.
Yeah, true. Yeah, this one was just timely
I'll look at
because
your
I was on a
books.
thread.
I'll look at your books. What do you got?
Remember that we have to, I think, publish the negative environmental notice board.
Like,
Do we do that? Should I do that? I'll do it.
Never done. Okay, I made copies of it. and-
I love your books. They're always so nicely handwritten.
Even legal citizens are getting picked up. It's like,
Did an annual report
you'd
for
think if you're
everybody.
part of the government,
They make mistakes. Nothing's perfect.
$4,000 worth of dogs.
And it sums up what I did all year long.
Fabulous.
Overall, I was down about 1,500 in 2023 to 2024. Hunting and fishing licenses were down by about 150 due to less hunters and past sales of lifetime licenses.
Oh, wow.
Also, now that hunting licenses are being printed on plain paper, more hunters are doing them at home.
Uh-huh.
Dogs were up about $1,600.
They do them at home?
Increase.
They bypass you?
Yeah, you can do it at home now.
So they don't pay you? Who do they pay?
Who do they pay?
DC.
Oh.
Big 1/10 of an ounce of money that they
We
let us.
should advertise.
Are we cheaper?
Renew your.
Are we cheaper, or is this the same rate?
Same rate, but
Same
we
rate.
get.
Lower your insurance
Like a
deductible,
half a percent.
your auto insurance deductible.
Dogs were up $1,600 due to the increase in dog license fees, plus Doreen's diligence with current and overdue dog licenses.
She came after me.
She does. Marriage licenses, we had 5 more licenses in 2004 because the Pleasant Valley Town Clerk was on vacation and I offered to take her customers.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
In late 2023, the state also started the requirement of a $25 fee for marriage officiants who are not religious or judges, but rather online trained officials. It's totally ridiculous that they're doing this, but they did it. But we get to keep the $25.
Yep.
so why was that enacted? Why was?
I don't know. To get more money.
That's it.
The all-encompassing clerk fees.
We're trying to hear what she's saying.
We're still recording.
We're still recording, we're trying to hear what she's
Oh, I
saying.
thought we were done.
Train killer.
No, we didn't end the meeting
Oh,
yet.
I'm sorry. Well, Nancy left.
No, I
No, she
know.
said-
Encompassing town clerk
That the
fees.
delinquent,
I was down by about
license.
$400 in part due to fewer deaths in 2024 than in 2023, fewer copies and fewer laminating cards. So
I'd like to know who used the fax service.
hardly anybody,
Who are the two people?
hardly anybody. So
You have
this
two.
is the-
Put in a FOIA request.
It's in here. So this is my cash book from January 24, every single day, rewriting what we did.
Thank you, Rita.
Photocopies is good.
And then this is all of my reports for 2024.
Do you laminate everything or just certain sizes?
The only thing I used to be able to laminate was hunting licenses.
Okay.
Because they were on the little skinny Valoron paper.
Yep.
And I had little laminating cards, like the size of a business card.
And he used to
Now,
laminate,
plain paper, I can't do it anymore.
and he
What-
used to laminate shamrocks.
Yes, I did.
What new fees are you collecting in 2025? Are there any new ones?
Nothing new.
Nothing new.
So I maintain 2 checking accounts. Everything goes in the town clerk account during the month, and then at the last day of the month, I transfer all the hunting and fishing fees over the decals account. Because the decals, DEC comes in the following mid-month and just takes the money that I have in there.
Yep.
So I have 2 accounts, only for safety purposes. If the DEC by mistake takes more money than they should, there isn't any more money in that account. So I have 2 different bank statements.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have all my deposit slips. And, I mean, here's just an example of, let's see, is this month of December? If you want to go just like through the month of December, every day we do.
I remember this.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Teddy was my deputy for
I remember that.
2 weeks.
I think.
When Doreen was out.
No, when
No?
I was not allowed to have a deputy.
Oh, right.
So,
And
like,
I wanted to go on vacation.
in
Right.
essence, I was a replacement clerk.
And you did great.
I actually enjoyed.
It's a fun office.
Yeah.
I even wrote in this book, but that was several years ago.
Probably another book. So if you want to look at my checking accounts, I have to zero
No, I'm
down
good.
to everything every month. Wendy gets the town money, the DEC takes their own money.
Yeah.
I send marriage money to the Department of Health and dog money to the Department of Agricultural Markets.
Good job. I think, good night. Bye, everybody.
Bored you, didn't I?
Sorry, we were here.
it's
Oh my
just-
God. Are you kidding? I was
It
born
was,
half an hour ago.
it was
Half an hour ago?
still being filmed, but like, pendulums were good to go,
No problem.
Well, I make a motion
Are interesting. Just eateries.
to accept the town clerk's books for
What kind of food do you like?
Anything.
yeah, there's definitely a few.
As long as it's not too spicy.
Spicy?
Not too
Second,
spicy.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sean's
Thank you.
famous.
Now,
Sean's famous.
the building department,
I'm gonna stop by
I don't know how
taxes
one
too.
wants to deal with this,
Cats is
but neither of
down.
them came.
I need to.
Were they supposed, they didn't come last year?
You may have a line, be prepared.
So that's what they left.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
go somewhere else. Go to Second Avenue Deli.
Yeah, that's good too.
Second Avenue, lunch is just good.
I heard of them years ago, and I was like, I need to go here. Like,
They used to go package for Second Avenue Deli. Get both, I'm good.
Yeah, same.
Get both.
Corned beef or pastrami?
Right, exactly. Pastrami and chocolate with
Oh my gosh.
is that Second Avenue?
Heart attack.
Heart attack on a plate.
Yeah, I've seen
Those
this, thank
things are
you.
huge
That
too.
is like, yeah, that's my-
117,000.
my go-to.
Really, wow.
You
I don't even know what their budget
They
is.
made $17,000.
On rye? What kind of bread?
$117,000.
Rye
I
bread?
made 17.
Yeah.
Second Avenue, that's not, or is that
That's
Cats?
myself.
Same.
You made $27,000. $26,000. Total state, county, and local revenues. Oh, 16,248.
20s or something now.
Yeah.
Second Avenue.
I'm not the
Deli is
money-making
like
office.
Chase Bank or something.
Right. It's
People
true.
keep committing crimes.
They lost their lease.
I teach
But yeah,
Dennis
I'll text you.
Smith.
All right, we'll talk.
Bye, see you later.
I get my
We'll all
increments of
talk.
money in
Bye,
like
Anthony.
dollars. He
We'll
gets
talk.
them in hundreds of dollars.
About what?
And you, I'm gonna kiss you on the head so you can send it to your kids.
Aw,
Give Pax and Lutz a kiss on the head.
sweethearts.
No.
Those full heads of hair. Well, one of them has a
Well,
full.
one of them, the other one's got that.
See this one?
Ooh, Town Stanford, yeah.
Still filming?
Oh, I'm sorry.
This one is significantly smaller.
Need Wendy
Who's
back.
ever gonna watch this video later?
I know.
Now, I thought one year also, the CAC also used to submit a book, correct? And showed up, I think, once in,
No, because they don't take money in.
okay.
Only the three of us by law, even though the tax collector brings money in, but he's gonna get audited with us this year.
Okay.
You got yours already?
Yeah. I
Make a
did that.
motion to accept the end-of-year report from the Town of Stanford Building Department.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
With the request to change the clip art next year.
Yeah.
So we will open it up, the second privilege of the floor.
Well, that was the third privilege of the floor.
No, we never had
But I
second.
forgot.
We did.
We did.
We did, and
Forgot.
it was,
Okay.
Bob, what was his name, Bob?
Mr. King, Jim
Mr.
King,
King.
but he
Yeah.
didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
Then I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll
Second.
What time is it?
46.
Okay, 46.
My family thinks I died.
My train killers. This is what,
Longer
Good,
meeting
Rita?
Tonight.
In fact,